station that we used to stop at. And we go clean up the parking lot and toilet paper, like get toilet paper and put toilet paper in the bathrooms and all that mess. Seriously, for a candy bar and a Welch's grape drink. And that was our break. We didn't have any money. You know, I grew up poor. You know, we ate meat on Wednesday. That was when Mom got paid. This is before Dad came along. Once Dad came along, then everything got a little more copacetic.
It's changed a little bit.
Yeah, we actually had a hamburger helper with him. So
we should do that, dude. We should have an episode of the podcast that you bring your brother on. You guys tell some stories, and then we'll do another episode. I'll bring my brother on, and we'll tell stories about stuff we did growing up.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, dude, because me and my brother did some funny shit growing up.
Dude, we had this
straight illegal shit. I bet it was funny.
We had this obsession, and my cousin, I'm not going to name him by name because I don't want anybody looking at him bad because I have family that listen to the podcast. I have a cousin, and every time he would come up in the middle of the night, we would go out in the neighborhoods, and what would we steal? Chrome valve cover caps for your tire.
What would you do with them?
Put them in our pocket and just took them home. We were just obsessed with chromies.
You just collecting them, or
yeah, we called them chromies, and we were obsessed with them, dude.
That's your own terminology for it.
Yeah, man, we would go out looking for chromies, and
dude, you could have taken it to the next level, and it could have been like currency. You could have like totally turned it into currency with your buddies.
Oh yeah, this was long before Bakugan and all those other card games and face this and face that, you know, so we'd have a chromie battle. You know? That'd be fun. But no, we used to do that all the time too. There was we had so much fun when we had no money and the world was our palette and we were just a fucking paintbrush.
Yeah, dude, that's how it was when you were growing up back then. Like, we did that too. We used to sneak out in the middle of the night too during the summer. And in my neighborhood, it was weird because my neighborhood was kind of small and it was surrounded by pastures. But like, you'd get out of the house at like 2 a.m. in the middle of the summer, let's say in the middle of June, and there'd be like 20 kids running the neighborhood in the middle of the night. Like, everybody was sneaking out of their house doing stuff.
Yeah. You know, there was a girl in our neighborhood. I'm not going to mention her name again because I sure don't want anybody to have a complex. And I didn't do this, but my brother did. Man, he'd be sneaking out, and he had it down to a science. Like, if the light was on in the room, there's no possible way you can see somebody outside.
Right.
The reflection is
so your brother's like a 12-year-old voyeur.
Oh, my God. And with the girl who had the largest natural boobs I've ever seen. Well,
every neighborhood had that girl living in it, too.
Yeah, now I've seen much bigger since I got out of the neighborhood. Since I got out the hood, I've seen a lot bigger. But at the time, she was the biggest, and she was a cheerleader, and those things just went up and down all night long in the football game. They were great.
Your world was that neighborhood, man.
Yeah,
that was the world you lived in.
We were kings of the hood.
Oh yeah, my brother and we had a dude that grew up with us. His dad actually was a police officer too. And his name was Wheeler, and I mean, rest in peace, buddy, man. When Wheeler's no longer with us, but dude, he was like a brother to us. I mean, him and my brother were super tight from the time they were in preschool, and the three of us, especially the two of them, dude. I mean, same deal, kings of the neighborhood, and just, I mean, the stuff we would do and get into, and. Those two, like I said, those two especially, man. We got to do this. We got to bring our siblings on and tell stories from when we grew up because my brother has got some hilarious stories.
I'm telling you what, that would make my day. Number one, it would give me some time spent with my brother, and number two, he'll probably be able to remember shit that I can't remember.
Oh, that's how it is when me and my brother get together and start talking. Each of us has forgot about some of the stuff. So it takes us both to read. And then there's stuff that probably both of us have forgotten. So,
oh yeah. Swear to God, we had a legit chop shop.
That's freaking awesome, dude. That's probably one of the coolest stories I've heard about little kids in a long time, man. Maybe ever. That's an awesome story.
And for everybody in that neighborhood who, let their garage doors open and for all the kids who lost their bikes and everything, I really am sorry. That was a really
Sorry.
bad idea. Really, really bad idea. Unfortunately, I cannot make restitution because that would be like 20 bikes or something like that.
Well, you haven't been convicted of anything, so.
No, thank
You've
God.
never been convicted of any of that, so you don't owe them restitution.
Yeah, but in the statute of limitations is long run out. But
And you just publicly admitted it, so you got it off your conscience. So this has been a very therapeutic episode of the podcast, man.
it has probably about as therapeutic as it can get. You and I both use this podcast as therapy.
For real, dude.
And
that's a true story.
We've lost some listenership, and I'm not 100% sure why. Gonna try to figure it out and maybe do something a little different on the podcast, perhaps. But I like the guest idea, especially the brothers. Having guests is so fun. And unfortunately, I don't want to be a follower of every other freaking podcast in the world, but it seems like every podcast that I listen to has a guest, except for Micro.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I like it. Let's expand on this idea. Let's try to see if we can put this in motion, make it happen.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Hey, I something I want to tell you, and I know it's I don't know if it's been weighing heavy on your mind. It certainly has not been weighing heavy on mine, but I'll tell you anyways. There's a bird crisis, homie.
What is going on with this, man? Explain what you read earlier.
Like 25% of the birds' population has gone in the last 50 years. Like just gone. And
that's not a very long amount of time.
No. But you would think it'd be just, industry and all that mess. And I suppose that's true. But I'm not 100% sure if this particular clan of birds had any ties to Hamas or ISIS or anything of that nature. But
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. But about 300 birds all flew into the side of the NASCAR Hall of Fame building in Charlotte, North Carolina yesterday, killing a good portion of them. Unfortunately, it did not bring the building down, if that was their thought.
Did this article say in what amount of time this happened? Did this just happen like in a matter of minutes?
It was a cluster of birds that just hit it all just about at once.
So a flock of birds just barrels themselves into the side of the Hall of Fame.
Well, now here's the thing: the Hall of Fame, if you looked at it at an angle from a bird view, the Hall of Fame has these real pretty windows that, at a certain period of the day where the sun's just right, you look at the side of this building and it disappears into the sky. Okay,
so maybe they didn't see it?
Perhaps.
Is that what you're saying?
Perhaps. So that's what I'm going on, because I'm trying to debunk the Hamas and ISIS theory.
But can you imagine how loud that was? I mean, you've been in a house when a bird's flew into the window. You know how it sounds. Can you imagine if 300 of them hit the window?
Can you imagine how awesome that would be if that was my office and these birds were just pelting themselves into the window?
Well, okay, there would be a certain level of fear. After like the first dozen and they kept coming, then I'd start getting a little nervous. Like, oh man, what am I going to do? 300 birds, if 300 birds attacked you, they could do some damage.
Oh man, if you want to talk about a bird that can do some damage and attack you, look up an Australian magpie.
Why Australian? Hang on, I'm doing it. You keep talking. Donnie, throw that right on my mind.
Australian magpie. Throw a
it
video
has to be
up there
Australian, though, is what Titty's saying.
Yes, Australian magpie. MAGPIE. And watch a video of this. This is insane. And ladies and gentlemen, if you
this this made a huge impression on you.
Oh yeah, you ever go back and
it's black and white. It's a black and white bird.
Yeah,
but it says it's only 12 ounces.
Oh yeah, it's small. It's not even a pound.
But it can do some damage.
Yeah.
But it said, did you know some Australian magpies can be very aggressive?
Yeah. Donnie, pull up a video for him, like magpie chases woman or magpie chases man or something like that on there, just to get it up on there, because I got to get his reaction on this. He's never heard of a magpie before, and frankly,
well, Heckle and Jekyll were magpies.
Yeah, they were. They certainly were.
Okay, he's throwing one. The title of this is Magpie Swoops at Cyclist. I want to watch that one.
There you go. That's what they're good at. And you better be wearing a freaking helmet, because if not, the shit's
the dude has a this bird is pissed, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's squawking.
Yep.
This dude is so high riding this bike. He's speaking some other language.
Yeah, it's
why, what is their problem? Well, that's rude. What's their problem?
I don't know. It's just like I guess they're, they obviously they don't wear their cuts, but they control territory. And
no, because that's official gang activity if they do that.
Yeah. So
what's the deal? Don't we have magpies in Oklahoma though?
I don't know, but I
think we have magpies in Oklahoma.
I know the Australian magpie is one pissed off bird.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of videos he had up on the monitor ago.
Yeah.
Like it's common.
A bunch of them, and they will peck your head to death.
Oh, that's weird.
They'll get you.
Have you ever had an encounter with one?
No.
Oh, you just fell in a rabbit hole one day and found out these magpies are messing with people?
Total rabbit hole. I've never been on that side of Australia. So this is all this is on the. I get apparently there's no magpies in what
after looking through those videos, I hope I never encounter one.
Yeah, I've been to Perth, Perth, and the women love the American men there.
Oh, is that the word on the street?
That's the word on the street. The word in the bed. The word after the bed.
I knew you were going to say that. I wish I could have stopped you right before you started talking and told you what you were going to say.
Oh yeah, because Australian men won't do nothing for women. It's buy your own beer.
Whoa, that's a big statement to make, dude. Like shit.
Yeah, just go there and watch the culture. It's crazy. If they're drinking with their buddies, don't bother them. I don't care how pretty, how big your tits are.
Are the English like that too? Are people in the UK like that? Listeners in the UK, they should let us know. Is that how the dudes are in the UK too?
I don't know. Just like Australians are all dicks, but then again, if they're dicks, let's go back to the original intent of Australia.
You just said Australians are all dicks.
Most
you just pissed off an entire continent of people, dude.
Most Australian men are dicks, and apparently that's.
Don't clean it up now. You can't say most now. You just said.
No, I'm just giving you the reason why.
Oh,
it once was a penal colony.
Oh, well, that's true. You know what? If you're from Australia, I would promote that. That's a continent full of criminals. Talk about outlaw life.
Yeah, totally. For sure. Hey, a couple things I want to do real quick to finish up the podcast. D'Angelo Williams, he used to play football. He was a receiver for Carolina Panthers, I believe. Went somewhere else. He wasn't in the league too terribly long, 5 or 6 years, but he did right with his money. And his mom died real young of breast cancer. She died at 53. She actually found it in her late 40s and died at 53. And so he decided, you know what, I'm going to buy 53 mammograms for 53 to honor my mom. And he did that. And he's like, well, there's so many more women who need mammograms that aren't able to get them. So he just started this foundation to get women mammograms. This is a football player. And
is this happened recently?
Well,
or has he had this foundation for a minute?
Yeah, he's had this foundation for a minute. It's just the news kind of picked up on it. And with us kind of doing our for the greater good, do epic shit.
Man, that's the pure.
Yeah, that's about as epic as it gets.
That's the pure definition of for the greater good, man.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that story, dude. I like that story a lot. My mom's a breast cancer survivor, so that's a dope story, man.
Yeah.
Like that, God, man, that just is. Like I said, that's the straight up the definition of for the greater good.
Oh, totally. And the only way somebody could do one better than that is if somebody bought like a big motorhome bus or something like that and put that machine on there and was able to go
travel
town to town,
around.
yeah, and do it that way. But regardless, man, I'm not going to slack him for anything. That was that was,
and this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So,
it is October. Yep. Yeah.
You guys encourage all the women. If you're a dude, man, encourage the women in your life to get that taken care of, man.
Yeah.
It's very treatable if they find it. And I hate to hear stories about women who lose that battle. I mean, I hate to hear about anybody losing the battle with cancer, but I mean, man, you hear about women losing the battle with breast cancer. That's a